Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and in today's Insight Tonight with Ashok Vyas, you see a different setup for Insight Tonight. These are different days. There is a sense of relaxation on some level in terms of many of us who are at home and safe. They feel that this is a kind of forced vacation, and many of us have started feeling a sense of restlessness because the extension in New York up to 3rd May, up to 15th May, I must say. In India, it is up to 3rd May. There are many plots and subplots to this saga, which has enveloped the whole world, a coronavirus global crisis. Today, we will talk a little bit about the medical side of it, but among many layers, there is a political side to it also. And we will talk a little bit about coronavirus as a political challenge for India as well as for America and also for international relationships. I have the pleasure of welcoming someone who is working closely with many coronavirus affected patients. As a physician, Dr. Rakesh Sharma Ji joins us. And in addition to
Namaskar.
his, Namaste, welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us. And it has been a busy day for you, yet you managed to squeeze some time to be with us this evening. I really appreciate that. And I also appreciate the presence of another gentleman who is also working in a government department, I must say. So he's active. Many of us are at home, but these two guests today, Jagjit Singh ji, welcome, sir. Namaste. So both of them are serving, and it is as is termed by President Donald J. Trump. We are fighting against an invisible enemy. Let me begin with you, Dr. Sharma. How much you are in agreement with the term invisible enemy? And let me also add that initially he mentioned Chinese virus. Later on, he gradually started not using that term that much.
First of all, invisible, whether it's a bacteria or virus, they all are invisible. But now we know exactly what is causing the problem. So I won't make it invisible anymore. It's very much out. And regarding the name, I do not see any problem calling it Wuhan or Chinese virus. And that's why it's also being labeled as COVID-19. Uh, so it's absolutely appropriate. I don't think there's any problem calling it that way.
Okay, so now since we are not talking only about the medical side of it, but as I mentioned, we are talking about the political side of it. So Jagjit Singh ji, when you refer to it as Chinese virus, as president of this great nation, or you refer to it as invisible enemy, does that make any difference?
It does not make any difference, but if you may recall, only today, the German Chancellor has footed a bill of enormous amount to the Chinese for the damage seeking through why they had done this coronavirus. And similarly, the British government has footed a bill to be paid by the Chinese for their losses. So it's no more, just called COVID-19. It is aptly being called as Chinese virus by the President of United States, Donald Trump. And it has got reverberations and acceptability all around the world.
So now there is a Nobel laureate from France who also says that this is man-made virus, and he also refers to Wuhan lab and all that. Now, going a little bit towards the biological side of it, Dr. Sharma, could you foresee or do you foresee there is a possibility of something like this happening? So as a layman, I find it difficult to understand how something which is man-made can travel across the globe and cause havoc like this.
Yeah, I think this is perhaps biologically engineered virus. I don't have any proof. I don't think no one does right now. But as the time goes on, we will definitely get to the root of it. And whenever there is anything made in the lab, it is much more virulent as compared to what we call mutation. Mutation is when any organism changes by itself, and man-made things are very difficult to treat because they have been arranged in such a way that they can cause maximum harm. The reason SARS coronavirus and this one are so different is because SARS was not man-made, that was mutated. This looks like biologically engineered. That's why it's causing havoc all over the world. And I don't have any proof. I don't think anybody does right now, but sooner or later we will find out if that is the truth.
So now truth again has many layers, and the truth that we are talking about is the one which is palpable. So though the enemy is invisible, but there are some aspects of it which are already being felt on a physical level. You cannot go out of your home. Airline industry is almost gone. Hotel industry almost gone. Many industries are suffering, and people are impatient now. They want to go out, and that impatience is also reflected in the leadership. President Trump again and again suggests the eagerness to reopen the economy. Now, talking about moving forward with respect to America's relationship with China. Jagjit Singh ji, how do you see it's working out? See, I must also mention that you cannot consider that world stops dealing with China. There are so many things happening everywhere with China.
See, the world is interdependent. No one country is in isolation, and every country is interdependent on each other. China is a big manufacturing hub. It cannot go out in a second. It cannot go out in just 1 year. And people have to also seek alternatives. These days, what I am watching is Vietnam and India have come up as alternatives for different companies. Like, for example, Citizen Watchmaking Company from Japan. They are trying to move out their production facilities from China to Vietnam. Similar things may happen because of lack of trust. That could be a possibility. But again, China is not a small power. China is a big manufacturing hub which has a lot of potential. You cannot just boycott it just like that.
So indeed, China has become inseparable part of our lives, whether you are living in India or America. Many of the parts are made in China, even if they are assembled in other countries. That includes India. Even in India, Dr. Sharma, you must be aware that for Hindu festivals like Diwali, you have Ganeshji and Lakshmiji coming from China.
From China,
So,
yes.
yeah. So the kind of uh, inroads which China has made, and you also are aware that important tech companies like one TikTok or whatever, they are also primarily Chinese. So Indian government is working hard that China doesn't overtake many of the Indian businesses. Overall, how do you see once we are out in hopefully a month or two, uh, Chinese position with respect to its international image and relationship?
Yeah, like Jagjit Singh ji said, China is a big power. But we have seen time and over that big powers disappear as quickly as they go up, whether it's Ottoman Empire or it's a British crown. They all have gone down. If I want to give recent example, that will be General Electric, that will be Xerox company. All these people that used to command everything in the field are almost disappeared. China can also be cut down to a very small power if rest of the world wants to. Uh, USA made China. USA can also bring China down. Uh, Regarding India, I think human nature is quite bad. We all want to spend less money, and China has done the best thing in the last 30 years, made things inferior quality products, but cheaper. So people have very short memory. They rather spend less money and keep a product only for 2 years as compared to keeping it for 10 years and spend twice as much. So human nature has to change. People have to realize that cheaper things don't last long. And that's why German cars are preferred over American cars. This can be changed, and the leaders have to change their thinking also. You just cannot look for China to make everything. I'm just shocked that suddenly in the last 4 weeks, American senators and congressmen have realized that 95% of their medications are being produced in China. Were these all politicians drunk or sleeping for the last 20 years? Didn't they realize that all these products are actually being manufactured in China? Why just act all of a sudden in the last 6 weeks that, oh my God, I didn't know that China was making everything? Every child in US knows that things are only being manufactured in China, not in US. So they have to change their thinking. Before I end this thing, I just want to give a small example. In Switzerland, most of the things are produced in Switzerland itself. They don't allow cheese to come from outside. They don't allow most of the products come from other European countries. And the prices of all these eatables is very high in Switzerland. The people who live there don't mind paying twice as much because they're so proud that those products are made in Switzerland. So they rather spend twice as much than to get things from China or even from Italy. People all over the world have to start thinking same way.
People have started thinking differently. That goes without saying. Our relationship with nature, we have also started paying more attention, and many people are sharing videos where they see that from Jalandhar, Himalaya is visible, or clean Yamuna, clean Ganga, cleaner Ganga. And many people are happy that now they hear those birds in Bangalore, which they could not till recently. Um, so indeed, lifestyle change brings about major changes. But as Dr. Sharma mentioned, we go for comforts. We go for easy life. And America has mastered the art of offering the kind of facility and system where you are in some way exploiting what is being done elsewhere. Now, coming to this aspect with respect to American president's approach towards World Health Organization, Jagjit Singh, ji, how do you see the way clearly and candidly President Trump questioned the role played by WHO and has cut its support funding for it?
See, the support and funding for this particular year had already gone. So it is something which is in the next year's budget, which would come up. But all said and done, look at the fact how things have changed. President Trump questioned the WHO, and immediately you had a change in the death toll figure in Wuhan being said by the Chinese authorities. So there was a mishap. There was something being hidden, which only after Trump's, bullying, rather, I would say, use the term bullying the WHO, showing it its true colors, that even after a, contribution of more than 50% of the WHO budget being funded by the United States, still they were hiding facts and not having transparency. So with that all said and done, now they are coming up, showing some respectability, trying to gain it. So that is an aspect which only Trump could achieve.
So Trump has a unique way of functioning, I would say, because many people consider being modest or sort of hiding what they feel under the rug and not showing it off. How it would play out for his politics in terms of re-election for as president, we will have to see that. But Dr. Sharma, allow me to mention that the way he has talked every day in the press conference about central or federal relationship with different state governors, and many governors or people who oppose him has said that he is running a sort of a campaign by sharing various videos. So what do you make out of all this in the context also of the way New Yorkers and we needed extra ventilators and facilities that were provided, etc. So do you see this as a genuine role played by president, or you see there is an element of politics involved, and is that right or wrong?
Well, initially, I think daily press conferences regarding COVID-19 were acceptable. I would say first week or so. Since then, there is no need to hold press conference every day. There is no new information. That's number one. Is it a little bit of political campaigning by White House? Absolutely. I'm a big Trump fan, but I would admit that yes, it's a free campaigning for the coming election. Uh, Before I say anything else, I just want to go back on WHO. WHO is like any other political organization, and they look at their own benefit. China perhaps paid money to their top officials, and they were in bed with China. But United States has been criticizing only WHO. I think a fair person, a fair country should also look at their own organization, which is CDC, Center for Disease Control in Atlanta. They have done a horrible job. CDC should be ashamed that their job is to control or give information about infection, and they have done worse job than a high school dropout. I think Trump officials or White House should look into it and fire at least the top 5 or 10 CDC officials. Every week they have been changing their tune. 6 weeks ago, you only were required to wash hands. 5 weeks ago, they told you to stay home. 4 weeks ago, they were not sure if you should cover your face. 3 weeks ago, you can put bandana. 2 weeks ago, you must wear a mask. And last week, they surprisingly found out that shoes can also carry virus, which I think even an illiterate person knew. So CDC should be punished in a big way, and United States just cannot keep on blaming WHO. They need to blame CDC because that is funded by US federal government. And number two, we have been criticizing only the federal government, including all the states. I think New York governor and mayor should be equally blamed because they run their own state. What they're doing for the last 8 weeks, we all knew COVID-19 was coming to US, but states had no preparation or close to zero. It's the responsibility of the states and the hospitals to provide personal protection equipment to their doctors and nurses, and they failed. In the first 2 weeks, there was nothing available all over New York, and that's why there's such high rate of infection and death in New York and New Jersey. And this is what people should be told, and the local politicians must be punished.
So, how time plays out in terms of people's response to the way they were served in such critical times, we will see that. But back to two, three references which came from Dr. Sharma Jagjit Singh. One, I would like your take also on: do you consider president's role as politics on some level, or would you see that he is addressing press conference every day with certain data, with the top medical team leading this COVID-19 task force, shows a kind of dedication? I would say, in some way. Well, let me just finish. I would
Yeah,
say
go
that
ahead.
he's trying, or he's projecting a sense of optimism and a kind of hope in such a gloomy phase which we all are experiencing, because many people uh, last we heard 22 million Americans lost their job. As Dr. Sharma was mentioning, we have lost nearly 40,000, um,
41,000.
41,000, and a significant number from New York State. So,
Yeah.
and I also heard Governor mentioning that he's not playing politics and this is not time for politics. So, talk to me about both these sides.
See, whether the governor says that he is playing politics or not, it does not matter, because they are all political persons. They will not be talking about cooking on a television platform. They will be, see, all it is, everything is there. Politics is part of the game when they talk. President Trump, when he is addressing, he is not a political person per se. He is a businessman. So he talks differently. And he is trying to give a report to the nation as to what is happening every day. And he is trying to show a brave face. When he talked about masks, he said, masks are necessary, but I don't want to use it. For a simple reason, he wanted to show that the president is a courageous person, president is brave. A president, a leader has to project a image of a different kind. A leader is somebody who leads, not hiding behind a mask. So that is what he was trying to portray. And today also in his press conference, he relayed a press TV note of Andrew Cuomo, who was saying how he liked the president and his support for the ventilators, for the beds and everything. So everything goes hand in hand. If you see that he was not praising the president, he was talking about politics. So when a political person talks, it is always politics. It is nothing else. And then again, we have to see it's not only the industries. See, I was just reading today, one of the major other industries, which is America's, one of the top industries, which are the colleges. The colleges had maximum number of students coming from China every year, which paid to the functioning of each and every college. Those numbers will be minimized. And once they are minimal, people coming from outside will go down. Many of the small towns which thrived on small colleges, they will close down, and thousands of people will lose job again in the coming time. By the time the new session comes up, so many colleges would have closed. That is again another disaster in coming.
So there are many economic disasters that we will have to face down the line. Just going slightly towards India, Dr. Sharma, and a call from President to Prime Minister Modi, and some changes in the rules regarding export of medicine and bulk of medicine being supplied to America. Do you see this as a strengthening of Indo-America relationship in some way, the way Prime Minister Narendra Modi has communicated with world leaders and overall about his proactive approach in handling this crisis? How do you see that?
I don't just call it a strengthening of friendship between India and US. Of course, it will. But on the other hand, it's all a humanitarian gesture. If America is suffering much more than India is, it is very common sense kind of gesture that India should ship hydroxychloroquine or azithromycin to United States, because US has suffered a lot. So I think on humanitarian grounds also, being a Hindu and Indian, I think that's what Indians have done all their lives. They have always given to the needy. At this point, since United States needs those medications and they have not been manufacturing, it is kind of good that Modi did this, and I'm sure President Trump and United States will always be grateful for that.
I think we just have few minutes more, but I want to talk about something which requires extensive conversation. Jagjit Singh ji tried to touch two aspects from India. When Dr. Sharma was responding, he mentioned that as a Hindu, and that takes me to the way religion is also playing some role in overall India's efforts to fight the challenge of coronavirus, that Jamaat and all those references came. Then recently we also heard address from not president anymore, but leader of Congress party. So your take on the first issue, as well as any quick remarks about what you make out of the press conference conducted by Congress leader Rahul Gandhi.
See, Rahul Gandhi, with all due respects, the Congress party has an opportunity at this point of time. The Congress party, rather than just opposing whatever Narendra Modi does, should come up with suggestions for the betterment of the country and not just oppose each and every step of the Prime Minister.
No, he talked
Well,
about
he said that lockdown was good, accepted. He said that, you know, the FDI in Indian industries was stopped, good. So more constructive measures should be needed, and at places where they can, they should try and help the migrant community which are stuck at different places and which is causing a problem, rather than criticizing the federal government in India or the state government. So those are a little bit of the aspects which should be taken care of. But all said and done, India is a country which has always been secular. Whether we want, whether it is in the constitution as a word or not, does not matter. India since ages has welcomed everybody. Atithi Devo Bhayo was the concept by which India embraced all other religions into its land. See, moving forward, what I would suggest, you know, adding to what Dr. Sharma had said.
We are almost beyond the time
Beyond the
show. And Dr. Sharma, I really want to appreciate you for taking your time after.
Mr. Vyas, I just want to show to the your viewers that I have a mask in front of me, and please don't leave your home without this mask.
And so he has demonstrated the mask, mask. But don't
mask.
Yeah, mask. Mask. I ended up mentioning mosque, which is not the case. So, Jagjit Singh, thank you very much for joining us, sir. And when we share openly, it somehow enlightens us and helps us connect with reality. That's what we're trying to do, trying to see reality from different dimensions. And I encourage you to stay with us through our programs, do write to us as well, and stay home, stay safe, maintain social distance and all that. But more important than anything is that we as a world, whether it was originated in China and whosoever is responsible, that is one side of it. But now that it is here, we all are facing it, we have to overcome it, and we should be united in our fight against this coronavirus. Leaders are showing us the way, and we need to do our part. Once again, I thank with lots and lots of good wishes to Jagjit Singh ji. I also thank Dr. Rakesh Sharma ji, and I thank you for your continued encouragement and enthusiasm, which becomes a part of our expression due to your, what should I say, support and love. So this is Shoghyas with lots and lots of thanks. No.